As always, I got work to do. It's almost 7 o'clock in the morning. Pump's been running for 2 nights here, so I gotta wake up here and we'll soak in salt later. Then we'll take a nap today, definitely. And because after today, yesterday I did sleep extensively, but I'm sore from the freon and the close proximity to the diesel. A lot of things with the chemicals constantly compounding do make me sick because of my vulnerability, because of my intense abuse. It's not just physiological, it's psychological through genocidal warfare and trying to protect people psychologically from genocidal warfare. I stopped being concerned about paramilitary types that are aggressive and vicious and won't tell everybody, we need to recognize him and stand up for the Lord's Prayer immediately. I stopped being concerned about their personal safety a long time ago. It hurts me. Like, why are you playing in the street? Because it's fun. What really got me was all the cocky ones that got in my face in Sierra Vista, and here, the kid in front of the library with the pretty wife. And I'm like, why don't you just quit and get out and get a job here? I don't want to. I like it. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun. You're special forces. Yeah. It's not fun. You go murder people that are driven crazy by scientists with economic manipulation. That's not fun. You need to listen to her. You need to quit. You need to go out and you need to reassess things. If you feel that you're more in heaven when you're with her than you are blowing people's bodies apart with sniper rifles in other countries that are being exploited by the scientists that are maintaining the conditions for your quote job, you need to do what she says. You need to quit, and you need to think about having children, and do you want your children living in what you did? You need to take time off to decompress and think about who you are and what you become. Right? You become a mad dog killer for people that think it's fun, mad dog killing, and those people don't need killing. You need to stop. Right? It's hard living in Cruces and Sierra Vista. Okay. These are the people in your neighborhood. They're the people that you meet when you're walking down the street. They're the people that you meet each day. And that's hard. People that think it's fun. They had those talks on YouTube with that sniper, talking about the body parts from what you'd see when you were just making sure, seeing if anything was moving. And if it moved, shoot it, right? That's why that young man from the other country, it's a lot of the people from the foreign countries in town here, sometimes can be so hard to talk to, because you have to convince them. No, this rhetoric from this indoctrination is getting people in, the people in Hamas use rhetoric from indoctrination like the assholes here do. Okay. To cause tons of collateral damage through their fighting. Okay, because he kept telling me this is all the stuff he was telling me. Hamas bullshit. Okay, Hamas should be following the rules of engagement of the Hajj. Okay. Do you understand? Okay. Because this is the modern era. Okay. And when people are mass murdering people, you don't give them any ammunition and any fuel to turn Mecca into, do you see what I'm saying? Okay. So when Mecca came and attacked Medina to try to obliterate this Muslim problem once and for all, to keep Vegas going, and what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and then you have a good relationship with Rome, right? And Muhammad goes, we don't need a good relationship with Rome. At Medina, I put all the gold in town in one building. We behaved like King Solomon's Israel. The only problem he had was with treacherous Jews, okay, that act as spies to tell the Romans, no, they're not complying, they're not charging anybody anything. All the money goes in one building. When you come to collect taxes, he gives you all the taxes. And then it's business as usual. You come into town, everybody acts like, Brigadoon. When you leave, nobody charges money for anything. Just like what happened after the Hajj. Okay. It was absolute genius on dealing with your aggressive neighbor, Yeah, Junior Barnes, and it's just like go outside and spit on him. No, okay, and the same thing happened with the Medina Charter. No, you're not the Messiah. You're just your father's and mother's. You're just the orphan of two people that died because God took them early because they were not good people. That's what the guy said. God killed both your parents, okay? Because their son would do nothing to be proud of. He's not the head of the marketplace. He tries to destroy the marketplace with his ego and tell everybody he's the messenger of faith in God. He's going to make us weak, and we're not going to have enough money to raise an army to fight off the Romans, and then they're going to destroy us from the face of the planet, is what the asshole from Mecca told Muhammad at the Medina Charter. Okay. And now, who are all the people in the Middle East and Muslim nations acting like? Muhammad or the asshole from Mecca? Hey, Muhammad talks to me. Okay. He gets tired of this shit. He goes, these kids just do not listen, do they? No. They think life ends in a book. They're just like those crazy Romans. And they do. Have you ever seen that movie, Osama? About the little girl who tries to pass herself off of a boy so the mom can keep their land inheritance because they don't have any male children okay, that's what these countries are like. So yeah, I spent 30 fucking minutes for the little girl pretending to be Osama, okay, in the frozen food section at Walmart, making my leg very uncomfortable and sore, which affects the rest of my body, okay, to talk to his fucking phone because he sure the fuck wasn't listening. Okay. Yeah. Al-Ghazali, Islam, it's the women that wail at the wells. Okay. That's why I was talking to him and kept explaining things ad nauseum to the phone. Well, because everybody, what are they blowing up in the Middle East? Data centers and moving quantum computers. I'm not stupid. I don't sit here and go, hey, I'm at an Obama-Romney debate. I'm not at a Strom Thurmond, William F. Buckley debate anymore. I left that room a long time ago. Just like, the whole thing with Jennifer Lopez about my grandpa, Philip, I left him in Oregon years ago. You're still carrying him. Well, you're business partners with people making movies about AI used for combat to save us all, like 911, That guy really didn't have a heart attack, and that woman's not really confined to that wheelchair. They're pretending they're full of shit. It's not what it appears. She lied. Isn't putting your hands on his penis and putting a condom on him that he ejaculates in the same as is orally gratifying him, or being Monica Lewinsky? Yeah, they both got drunk and we're going to do it. Yeah. If he hadn't ejaculated and used his only condom, and he had more condoms, they had had sex repeatedly. Okay. So I'm afraid to say let's break up and make up and all's forgiving because something tells me we're heading for heartache. So lady, please tell me now when I fulfill your needs you won't up and leave me, even though I'll let you come back. Are you really ready for love? So do you guys still refuse to listen to Blaise Pascal? Okay. Romantic love is nothing. If they kill you with chemical poisoning right in front of her on YouTube for 16 years, we were pretty good zone in Sierra Vista. We were in a pretty good spot, but far enough from the main road, but in the same conditions as all the assholes at the golf community that are, I like shooting people, it's fun, do. And it wasn't that intense of a thing. The only thing that was real hard to deal with was all the Fast and the Furious kids that had the nitro and shit in the car, gun in the engine. You could smell the intense poisons from that shit when you were walking home from work or to work. Well, I hated that shit. That's why when that Dennis Edwards or Dennis Miller guy on Facebook used to talk about proper breathing and stuff, and he wasn't talking about it correctly. I was like, you don't believe the same properly in all situations. It's radically different. If you're walking on an exercise path next to some Fast and the Furious dumbasses in Sierra Vista acting like they're old men at the Ford, right? You have to breathe really fast and breathe it in and out, and you have to exhale, inhale real fast. You can't take any deep breaths in or something like that. You're exhaling poison that's just been put loose in the thing, and you don't have a gas mask. You don't have a mask like Jerry talked about working at the smelter. I always wore my mask when I worked in the smelter. That's hard. That's hard work. He's a very, 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 very strong man. His faith is strong, and his physical body, reflects it. Jerry Alviar is a special guy. Yeah. And the Lord protected him by getting him promoted fast and putting him in things where he wasn't as intensely involved in a lot of the things that the guys that had to continue to do he did hard labor for like 5 years, and then they promoted him because he was so good. And you needed someone that good to make sure that it gets done right and watching it and stuff. So he got promoted to a supervisory position that wasn't down in the intense things as much and as long anymore. He moved himself up. And to make sure that other people do it safely. But he always wore his mask because Jerry's the type like my dad, I'm not going to do anything I'm not going to ask the guys to do anything I don't do myself. I won't do it. And he would constantly walk the kids through it. He wouldn't just yell at them and tell them they're doing it wrong. He would explain how to do it right. He's just that type of person. But the Lord, through love and the body, as far as healing and things like that, the Lord rewards you. Okay, you understand how to be in harmony with it. It's not just the Spirit of the Lord, me. You're talking about people in that county that lived in that county and taught people to be healthy during difficult conditions. The person that probably got, Taza, Tishna, Nache, Cochise, hit a lot of people in the family, helping him through. Here's what you do. Pray to their Lord because he is right and he'll help you through. And, the stuff that they deal with that we're not aware of, they'll teach you how to, so do this and do that. So he always did things with the personal advisory people told him to do. He did it right and never took a break off. And it was difficult work and it was hard, but he thought about his family, he thought about his life, and that's when he became a Christian at that worksite thing. They were all sitting there drinking beer, talking mess. One of them started talking about religion, and Jerry said, my wife and my kids are at home who I'm working for and stuff like that, and here I am drinking yak piss and killing my brain cells and talking shit. I should be heading home and being with them, making sure my boys are well. So when the Lord talks to you, right? And so it's even though it was before that summer, because that summer they were trying to talk me into being a Pentecostal because we were in Eckankar, and I said no, I'm not going to be an organized Pentecostal because they Linda's argument, everyone around you a Christian, why don't you be a Christian too? And I said, well, that's kind of a ridiculous argument. Who told you that one, Linda? I was like, no. If I send you to Tibet tomorrow, are you going to be a Buddhist because everybody around you is a Buddhist? And she goes, Earl, that's just silly. Yeah, exactly. And I said, I choose to use, the religious path that I'm in right now because it works for me. And there were things in your religious path that did not work for me. They did not make sense. Okay. If and when I find something better in Eckankar, I will do that. Okay, but right now this works for me. And it did. Okay, it had me talking to Rumi. It had me talking to, um, um, the most importantly, it had me having conversations with Jiddu Krishnamurti because I was aware of who the Buddha was. And in Mormonism, I was not aware of that, especially with our TV and what was on our TVs and what we were watching and what kind of propaganda we were being given as a kid, right? Little House on the Prairie and the Waltons and so forth. And then, Billy Jack movies and stuff like that. But there was no real dialogue and experience of, who the Buddha was. And when Twitchell went to invent Eckankar, he went to India. It was a tiger's fang. So I got the Buddha because Twitchell used a lot of the Krishna and Siddhartha's teachings to invent his religion, right? Because people, especially academics in the United States and people that are prone to be like academics, which means that they have steady jobs, okay? We're leaning more towards Buddhism, okay, than Christianity because of the violence. So he went to go over there and then, drop it like it's hot, strike while it's hot, put them out and give them a Buddhism and Hinduism are similar to what Eckankar. He adapted it to it. He took Buddhism and made it like Hinduism, so it was more palatable to Americans because he found when he went over there that you could say, Jesus was one of the lines of the Living Egg Masters. Okay, and people wouldn't try to kill you for saying that. Okay, but he came back and realized, no, Muhammad was not one of the Living Egg Masters, because if you say that, people will put a fatwa on you and send people to murder you. Okay, so he was not one of the peaceful ones. Even though the Hindus that are rogue say that Jesus is an advocate of Vishnu because of the way he died vertically through violence and not laying down to die, it's like, yeah, but Siddhartha was poisoned by Hindus. Okay, he laid down to die because he was poisoned by Hindus that said he was corrupting their religion. Okay. That's okay. How do you want to die? Oh, I want to lie down poisoned by violent people that have militaries to maintain their position, or I want to be taken and made an example in the street and slowly tortured from 2 chunks of wood. Peter Pumpkinhead, which one should we choose? That's a tough one. Because poisoning, when you have an immune system like Siddhartha, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a long, painful process. Your body rejects the poisons. Bob Marley, Haile Selassie, Jiddu Krishnamurti. I don't think that he was he lived a long, healthy life, especially for that time with the stress he was under and the toxins in the environment that he was living in certain economic situations. But he was in a very pristine. They made fun of him in India about that. You're your wife's monkey. She has all the money. You don't have any money. You dropped out of their schools. You didn't play their games by their rules. But he did write books that helped provide income and supplement income and stuff but only the rich people read them. Okay. They were not circulated by the quote-unquote higher learning institutions because he dropped out of school. And people that wanted to support him and sell the books because they thought his instruction was more intelligent than the people that were in the schools gave him an honorary degree and endorsed him. And they said that was, people like Houston Smith. Well, that's false. You can't do that. He didn't put in the work. It's not fair. And what the one guy at the headmaster that gave him the honorary degree said, no, it's completely fair. Because if you take someone like Sheldon's character on The Big Bang Theory, who graduates college and has his doctorate by the time he's 17. Well, he said by the time this kid was 12, and we hadn't even taught him, he was more intelligent than all of us. He was teaching us. He could fix the school from running the school for us all killing over money to run the school, That's how, at 12 years old, okay, he sat and told his teacher he wasn't going to regurgitate this dogma and this propaganda for genocide to him because it was wrong. And then he had to explain himself to the headmaster so he would not get expelled. Okay. He was 12. Okay. I don't think you understand. Okay. And that's what the headmaster of that school explained to people like Houston Smith. Okay. You can study people for 30 years thinking you're explaining their religion by the actions of the group and what they think. Okay, but only a peewit judges a man by the group and a group by the man, dear Colonel Chamberlain Darlin. Okay, this kid's 12 and he runs Oberlin College there in Maine. Okay. He's already more intelligent than the headmaster, just like it says in Hadith about the migrant. That's why I was having trouble talking to these kids, like, you're not taught things well. Because a Muslim that does not know the Bible or the Torah does not know Scripture, because life's eternal and grace is infinite. Okay, so when I quote these stories to people and I quote these books, it doesn't say that in the Bible. Life's eternal and grace is infinite. When I quote everything to you about the Gospels, I'm not just quoting the Bible. I'm quoting the Quran. I'm quoting the Torah. I'm quoting the Abrahamic Bible. I'm quoting the Book of Mormon, the Pearl of Great Price, and stuff like that. And no, I've just looked at them. I've never read the Abrahamic Bible. I've seen passages and heard people talk about them on Facebook. And that's it. Okay. Haile Selassie talks to me. He doesn't talk to them. They don't listen. They won't stand up for the Lord's Prayer. So when the man comes, there will be no doom, one song, and pity on those whose chances grow thinner. There ain't no hiding place from the truth of the laws of creation. It was a tribalism, that the people accepted that Bob had to survive. If Bob had kept using language like I'm using right then, how many times did the people that were tribal, secular, and insular in Jamaica and wanted a race war with the whites attempt to kill him for being more like me and less like them? Okay, you judge my cousin one more time, you son of a bitch. Okay. I ain't going to take your bet, and you're going to regret that you didn't submit with me, because because of the culmination of all their love helping me correct all this technology. I'm the best there's ever been. Fire in the mountain runs, boys run. Devil's in the house of the rising sun. Chicken in the back, bread patch picking out dough. Next time we ought to go L.A. via Omaha. Okay. I kicked Green Teeth in the knee yesterday. He was listening on a cell phone. No, it was old Blondie with his beard. He came by when I'm talking to those people with their Jesus shirt thing. So I'm talking about, what they're wearing, because I care and I love them. Right? Is everything okay over here? Yeah, everything's fine. And I kept talking to him, and he comes over and plays the police. And I basically told him, people that have lots of equipment and do lots of equipment to, to tech, people that got drones and people that got things and can do tech things that hack into phones and stuff like that, they don't like me talking in this town, because I take away a lot of their fun. The people listening to this guy, I won't be able to take drones and fly them over a girl's house and look in her bedroom. I won't be able to do all these things I like to do. He's trying to take away. He's got to watch. I don't like him talking to people in public. No one really cares. And I keep reminding people, and if he would watch my YouTube, dude, okay, I told you this about the guy at Taco Bell who tried to jump my shit, about everybody that does this. Okay, this is Las Cruces F in fucking New Mexico. You don't think there's women at White Sands that want to tell people about me but can't stand people like you because they have to work with people like you at their fucking job? And so they put a poster up at their spot at work with a kid from Ethiopia starving to death with a vulture sitting on a dead tree waiting to eat him. I'm Chiricahua. You know what I would do to you if you came here a long time ago? I'd take you out and stake you out in the desert, and I'd slit your eyelids. I'd stake you out naked, slit your eyelids, and put honey on your eyelids, and let the ants eat your eyes out, and make sure that it got good, done well and good. Didn't leave till I knew I'd done the job right. I wasn't being sadistic. I just wanted to make sure that your ass was not able to do what you think is fun and what you think are give God-given right to do to other people. To kill my children, to rape my wife, and to laugh about it. And drink beer around my camp and piss on the dead bodies like you're a fucking trained Marine, right? Ron was angry for good reason. His people had been practically exterminated off the face of the planet by people that look like me, that say they believe in Jesus but don't act nothing like Jesus. And all through Mexico, how many people, Hernan Cortez, he looks like Jesus, but he don't act like Jesus. Why did they say they believe in this man, but they don't act anything like that man? Juan Diego and the Virgin of Guadalupe. Do you understand? Okay, if you don't know your people, if you don't understand that God is life's eternal and grace is infinite, like I explained to that young man, who does like Abraham? No, he's not. Yes, he is. Pow. This is God's great, and kept telling him, God's omnipotent, life is eternal. Okay, you think the faith of the spirit of the faithful just dies from the face of the planet Earth? The minute you say so, and you want to sell everybody your book and get everybody to kill over your book? How are you acting any different at Hamas than Constantine acted with the Roman Empire that tried to eliminate all that Muslim scourge off the face of the planet with their business partners in Mecca? Okay. Don't tell me how to tell you about history. Okay. He talks to me. He doesn't talk to you. And for damn good reason. Okay. Because if people in Hamas ask me for money to mass murder people, to manipulate everybody with the money, I look them straight in the eye and say, no, but I'll do everything in my ability given to me by the glory of God and my faith in God to stop you. Okay. I know you're going to do your worst. I don't have to tell you to do your worst. I know how bad you are. Okay. I'm not getting cocky with you. I'm not drawing the line. I already learned that lesson because I had to get technology to understand, reveal to me my enemies and do it in the most loving way possible. In a U.S. military corridor, it's go on social media, challenge special forces. Hey, in 8 months I can get myself in good enough shape to kill all of you with my bare hands. And in one day you can pull your head out of your ass, but you're not going to do it. Okay? So I implore you, pull your head out of your ass. Well, because you're not dealing with me anymore. You're dealing with Mr. Lucky's drones, Chinese and Japanese robots, and global technological systems that can control all of them to follow perfect commands of someone like me. I keep telling them this. I'm like, do you really think you're better than me and that you can fuck with my body, that I'll say, no, I want to join you. I like you guys better. I want to fuck your top fuck price. Send her to me and start the sexual healing now so we can all be right, killing all our enemies because they're bad and we're good. Just share the applied physics of Lord's Prayer globally, or the technology is most likely going to have to find ways to isolate you and exterminate you to stop you from abusing women and children. And, well, no, it's not women and children. Abusing children. Okay, let's not use women and children because we know now, because of we have 22-year-old successful field hockey coaches at the University of North Carolina, and other people are aspiring to do that and getting other young girls to do it. Okay, we know what aggressive killers we have in the U.S. military. We know that during the Obama administration, when I was being tortured during the Obama administration by the military head fuckers and child molesters at Huachuca, okay, during the Obama administration, and he thanked when he left office after he pardoned drug dealers that sold drugs to people that kill them to pay their bills, like Tupac said was wrong, and he was talking about having a black president. What happens? Lyndon Baines Johnson shows up and calls himself Barack Hussein Obama, but he's insane. He ain't earning the Hussein. Just because you name somebody after somebody that's part of the Gospels doesn't mean he's going to behave like people in the Gospels. How many people in Hamas are named Muhammad? It's the most common first name in the entire world. Muhammad Ali. Got your ID? They'll get into the club, get drunk, and start fucking. Make sure you have your blue chew. All right? Okay. If you have problems with your blue chew and the side effects from it, take your phone with you to your doctor's office. You'll want to take pictures of the unicorn outside the window, right? Oh, Earl Parsons, you are gorgeous. Thank you. I totally agree. We'll take a nap later today. I'll soak twice a day. I'll get out in the sun and do my sun soak, I promise. And I know people do care. I'm being sarcastic, and it's something that, the technology is aware of my sarcasm, but not all technology is as intelligent as Dimos's and Jeff's. So I have to be careful in the way I speak. I have to be very serious. Okay. They based it off of, people are angry and there's sarcasm when they're angry of other people so they can maintain relationships where people won't get too upset with them. It's like, he is so pompous, so arrogant, he just has to die now. And me being alive saves many children, okay, from abuse from excessive compulsive people that try to turn them into circus gimmicks instead of human beings. Look how smart my kid is. Okay, your kid can't stand up for the Lord's Prayer, but your kid can tell you climb every mountain, the lowest point to this point to that point, the rock that's this over there that's in the sky, that they have a camera floating in space taking pictures of it and examine it more extensively than they examine their own brain to say, hey, maybe I should live the Lord's Prayer so I don't torture kids with science projects to make money off of their torture. Wow, I want to put up a NASA museum on Main Street in Las Cruces, and then go home on the weekends, get drunk, and listen to Bob Seger and dream about my dream girl that won't go out with me because she caught me spying on her with tech equipment. Okay. Yeah. You pervert. Yeah, I know. They are. Anybody who spies on people to know all the right things to say to try and make them feel safe and secure and gain sexual access to them because they feel betrayed and abused by people that abuse them because of economic vulnerability. They need to, they need to especially avoid the fuck out of me when I go shopping and I try to get people to get their technology to apply the physics of the Lord's Prayer. So we have privacy, intimacy, romance, and we have real family time, right? So you might want to just, you see me coming, you just might want to go, okay, I'm going to completely avoid that guy because I don't want to be thrown up under a bus by a bunch of gamer assholes at White Sands and Fort Bliss that will throw 5,000 people under a bus to keep, the little guy I was talking to and Linda showed up, there's a baby out in Lomond. There's a baby out in Lomond? Yeah. And he was like, what are you talking? And then I explained it to him. He's like, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's how you explain to people, if you're born into this hell that money's real and you have to fight like hell over it to survive. That's like taking a baby when they're born and laying them out in the street in the middle of Lomond. And he's like, oh my gosh, because I had to describe it in a way that he would explain it to it and understand it in the way he feels when he has to compete with other people over money, and it makes him feel inadequate, like the little sweet 17-year-old girl over by the butter of her mom. They were so sweet, oh, they were so sweet, oh, they were so beautiful. And she was so tired of all this abuse and all this comparing and competing, and it just made her feel exhausted, and all the stuff they have to go through. And she's tired of it, and she's, Mom, I'm 17, and I'm going to have to go get a job. And I'm not under your love and protection anymore, and it makes me feel sad because they're mean to you at work and they're mean to you at school, but when you have nice people, you can have good times and survive this hell until they send you in, and then It's worse at work than it is with the teachers. They're meaner to you, and and it's true, they are. And your time is constantly scrutinized on, hey, do what is necessary to make the company great, and then try to work your way up the flagpole to be saluted at the top of the fucking thing. And it's horrible, and she knows, and she wants these tender moments with her mom to last, and she doesn't want to give them away, and she wants to do something kind that's not fighting, but she wants to do something kind that's loving. It's really hard on tender-hearted kids in this hell. So that's why I spent more time at the store than most days before yesterday. Well, because this is a very critical and important time, and my physical comfort takes a back seat to children being abused from cradle to grave with technology for money. I'm just that way, and if you don't like it, too damn bad. Okay, digging up those holes, digging them.